Good morning and good day to you, fellow leaders. Thank you so much once again this morning for tuning in with me in this leadership engagement moment. Today I want to speak to you about simplicity or simplify, simplicity or simplify. One of the important things in my life as a leader and the organization that I lead is to always find those things in my organization that I can simplify. Simplicity for me is very, very important. I believe that there are things that we can really simplify. It is a waste of time for people to try and figure out things to understand them, while as leaders we can find ways of simplifying our environment and simplifying how we do things. Simplicity for me is powerful. It is always better for me when people quickly understand things, than trying to think them through and figure out the things that really doesn't need to be figured out and be thought through, when we simplify them. There are also situations and things in our lives, in our environments that are characterized by complexities, and we don't need to simplify them. For instance, all churches and churches everywhere faces difficult community problems. Those community problems are difficult. There's nothing that we can do to simplify them. Is to trust God to find solutions towards those difficult community problems. I want to encourage you leaders, figure out in the church what is unnecessarily complicated. Figure out in your organization, in your business, what is unnecessarily complicated. It can be your procedures, it can be how you do things, but figure out those things. Those things that are just unnecessarily complicated, and find ways of simplifying them. Simplicity is important. It saves time. It saves time really. It is less frustrating for people, for your teams. So find those things around your organization that are just unnecessarily complicated and simplify them. I believe that everything that has a shadow of insanity must be brought to the table and be simplified. Everything that has got a shadow of insanity must be brought to the table and be simplified. That is important. Max Dupree, one of the leadership and management gurus, said, a leader must constantly define the reality. A leader must define the reality, close quote. That's Max Dupree. And leaders, it is important that you should define the reality of your organization. Where is your organization? What are those things in organization that are just too complicated for people to figure out and for people to understand? That slow down process, and simplify them. Sit around the table with your team and ask yourself those critical questions. What are those things in our organization that are just unnecessarily complicated? And find ways of just simplifying them so that everything should be simple. Even sometimes when you address people, just simplify things, simplify things. There are sometimes they're just complicated concepts. Find ways of just simplifying those concepts when you address your teams or you address your church, so that every person will be able to understand with no difficulty. Thank you for tuning in today, and I want to encourage you, simplify. Remember, you can also get these videos on my YouTube channel, which is Peter Tutubalang. My surname is spelled Tutubalang. Remember, simplify. Simplicity is powerful. It saves time, and I'm telling you, it just encourages people to be more productive. Just simplify. Thank you so much.